We are joined by Josh Sims live from Denver. He is the Carolina reporter for Fox 46 in Charlotte. Josh, Roger Weiland in Albany, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Roger. Good to hear from you and Zach. I love listening to you guys through the Albany game, so it's good to catch back up with you guys since I've left town.
Yeah, appreciate it, Josh. Thanks, man. And how's Denver treating you, by the way?
Hey, Denver's pretty cool. I didn't know what to expect when I got here, and I've loved actually every minute of Denver, so it's a pretty cool city.
No doubt. And you get to cover the Carolina Panthers, and that's not a bad deal either, along with the Denver Broncos. What is your take? Let's start. Any hangover for the Panthers after the Super Bowl loss? How about we start there, Josh?
I don't think so from this team. It's kind of been a more business-like approach this season. Last year, a lot was made about how much fun this team had, how loose they were. This season, at least in training camp, they were a little more business-like. They were a little more focused. I think that loss in the Super Bowl was kind of a wake-up call, and they've been kind of trying to turn the page. And the big thing with them is Cam's been saying it all week. He said, don't treat this like a Super Bowl rematch. It's a big game because it's their next game. It's coach speak. It's what those guys in the locker room are told to say, but still they kind of have this approach that they have to really turn the page and not treat this as revenge or anything like that. But they've been pretty focused in camp, pretty sharp, and looking like they're ready to kind of prove that the team you saw in the Super Bowl wasn't actually what Carolina is capable of.
Josh Sims, Panthers reporter for Fox 46 in Charlotte, covering tonight's game in Denver on NBC and News Channel 13. It's an 8:30 kick. Is this a season where anything less than getting back to the Super Bowl and winning this whole thing would be a disappointment because of what they did a year ago, and they're just kind of like reloading here, Josh? This is a season that needs to end with a Super Bowl victory? I
think so, because the way this roster is built, they've got some guys in the prime of their careers that they really want to take advantage of. You've got the core of this team back. Yes, they lose Josh Norman, and some of the vets like Charles Tillman are gone, Roman Harper are gone, but you still got the Keekleys. You have Thomas Davis, you have Cam back, Olsen back. You're loaded on offense. You get Kelvin Benjamin back from injury, and Funchess, the second-year wide receiver, they loved what he did as far as progressing from his first year to his second year. So they're really stacked up to be the favorite in the NFC, if not the favorite to win the Super Bowl. And it's one of those things where if you don't get it done, the next season is the year you get it done. You looked at baseball with the Kansas City Royals. They were young. They got there. They kind of learned from that experience, and that next year they took the next step and won it. That's kind of what Carolina is primed to do this year with the way that roster is built.
Josh Sims joining us. He's in Denver. He covers the Panthers for Fox 46 in Charlotte. Josh, got to ask you about Cam Newton specifically. He's coming off an MVP season, and I feel like with Cam, for whatever reason, the general public is a little bit slow to fully give him his due. His next rushing touchdown that he gets will be the most all-time, breaking a tie with Steve Young. And I'm wondering, you get to see this guy, week in and week out. Are we watching truly one of the great players of a generation?
Yeah, I mean, let me say, because before I came down to Charlotte, I knew, Cam, you see all the highlights, but I didn't see him on a day-to-day basis. And I got to say, the first time I just saw him, in person, the dude is huge. I've never, seen a quarterback that big and that built. I mean, Tom Brady, I've seen him. He's tall. But the way Cam is built, he's almost like a defensive end. I mean, the hits he's able to take, it's something that I've never seen from a quarterback position because he's as dangerous a rusher. And last year, he really turned the page with being able to pass from the pocket. And he just has so many weapons at his arsenal. He can do so much that he really, it's hard to plan for him because you say, make him a passer, and he picks you apart. You say try and keep him, make him run, and he'll pick up first downs left and right. So he really is something special, something we haven't seen maybe before. And just from a physical standpoint, I mean, to have that guy at a quarterback is unbelievable.
Talking week one, season rolls around tonight, and I just think the defense of Carolina tonight is going to really dig in on Denver's offense and make it a long night for Trevor Siemian. That's kind of how I look at this. I like Carolina to win this game big tonight, Josh.
Yeah, and let's not forget the Panthers' defense played really good in the Super Bowl. The offense was the issue. The defense played really well in that game. They limited them to, I can't remember the number of yards, but it was pretty low for the Broncos. So that really wasn't the issue. And this defense is back. They're just as good, if not better. They're hungry. I mean, they've arguably got the best front seven in the league, and those guys are, a year wiser, and you have, Kuechly in that linebacking core, and the only real issue or question mark would be the corners, because they have the potential to start 2 rookie corners tonight. But the thing to understand about the Panthers is their defense is keen, so you're not really putting anyone out there on an island and saying, hey, shut down Demaryius Thomas. You're saying that our front seven is going to put pressure on the quarterback, force him to make some bad decisions, and then have the safeties, have the corners eat him up after that, make him throw some bad balls and take advantage of that. So if they can do that, they can put the pressure. I mean, they sacked Peyton a lot last year in the Super Bowl. If they could do that to Simeon, a young guy that doesn't have the experience that Peyton had, they could have a field day here today. And this game could be really determined by that Panthers defense.
And I know this is a Super Bowl rematch, but this is a Denver team. It's a far cry, really, for the team overall that they had on the field in that Super Bowl game.
Yeah. I mean, as far as, you look no further than the quarterback, Trevor Simeon, a guy that has taken one NFL snap and it was a kneel down. So he really hasn't thrown a regular season pass at all. And then, that will affect the wideouts. You won't have the same rapport with the guys like Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. And, the defense, I'm sure they let some guys go, but, Von Miller is still there, and Von Miller is a beast. Let me tell you, that was one of the best defensive performances I've ever seen in a game last year from Von. He was unguardable. And, DeMarcus Ware is still there. So they still have some guys that can disrupt this Panthers offense. But on the offensive side of the ball, that's where I would be worried for the Broncos.
You have a prediction on who wins this game and what the final score might be tonight?
I think I'm going with Carolina to win this game, but I think it's ugly. I think it's low scoring. I think it's kind of one of those defensive battles. Off the top of my head, I'll go 17-13 Panthers. I don't think you're going to see them light up the scoreboard tonight just because, A, it's the first game of the season. A lot of teams aren't that sharp in the first week, and then you've got 2 teams that are really good defensively, and, I think it, plays into that factor with a lot of turnovers, stuff like that. So I'm going out on a limb, right? I'm a Panthers homer here, but I'll take the Panthers to win tonight to get to 1-0. That'll make my job easier when I go in the locker room after everyone will want to talk.
There you go. Hey, Josh, keep up the good work, man. And thanks for a few minutes live from Denver. Josh Sims, Panthers reporter for Fox 46 in Charlotte, covering the season opener in the National Football League. Josh, we'll talk to you down the road, man.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Josh Sims, live from Denver, and the game at 8:30 tonight on NBC and News Channel 13.